We are taking chapter number 4, which is the executive. Question and answer on the executive. व्यवस्थापिका के साथ कार्यपालिका. Executive is कार्यपालिका. A parliamentary executive means the answer is executive that is dependent on the support of the majority in the parliament. So whenever they have the majority in the parliament, they are parliamentary executive, and this parliamentary executive change maybe in between 5 years or after they are voted out, or they may be again reconstituted. Read the dialogue. Which argument do you agree with and why? Amit, looking at the constitution provisions, it seems that the president is only a rubber stamp. Shama, the president appoints the prime minister, so he must have the powers to remove the prime minister as well. Rajesh, we don't need a president. After the election, the parliament can meet and elect a leader to be a prime minister. So, we agree with the dialogue of Shama because the office of the President of India is the office of respect and nominal supremacy. He is not only a rubber stamp, but he has certain discretionary power given by the Constitution of India, such as appointment of the Prime Minister in case of no single party gets majority. The Council of Ministers is answerable to the people because they are elected by the people. And as soon as this council loses the confidence of the lower house, that is the Lok Sabha, it automatically falls. Hence, no need to remove the Prime Minister by the President. So that is why we agree with what Shama has said. Match the following. Works within the particular state in which recruited. So this is state civil service. Works in any central government office located either at the national capital or elsewhere in the country. So these are all India services. Works in a particular state to which allotted can also be sent on deputation to the center. Central services. Works in Indian mission abroad. So foreign. So Indian foreign service. Identify the ministry which may have released the following new items. Would this be a ministry of the central government or the state government, and why? First is, an official release said that in 2004-05, the Tamil Nadu Textbook Corporation would release new versions for standard 7th, 10th and 11th. So now the Tamil Nadu government is involved, so it's a state subject. So this news has been released by the Ministry of Education, which is belonging to the Tamil Nadu state government, because the education subject is the state list, comes under state list, and the state can execute laws on it. A new railway loop line bypassing the crowded Tiruvallur-Chennai section to help iron ore exporters. The new line, likely to be about 80 km long, will branch off to Puttur and then reach Atiyapattu near the port. Now this is by the Ministry of Railway. So this news has been released by Ministry of Railway, and since this is a union list, the subject which is mentioned here is in the central government list. That is why it is by Ministry of Railway. The 3-member subdivisional committee formed to verify suicide by farmers in Ramayampet Mandala has found that the 2 farmers who committed suicide this month have had economic problems due to the failure of crops. So now this is Ministry of Agriculture, and this comes under the state list. So this comes under the state government purview. While appointing the Prime Minister, the President elects. The answer is the leader of the alliance party, or alliance of the party, or the party that has the support of majority of Lok Sabha members. Read this discussion and say which of these statements applies most to India. So here I am going to tell you the Bobby statement. Prime Minister has to consider the expectation of the party members and other supporters of the government. But after all, the Prime Minister has a greater say in policy making and choosing the ministers. Why the statement applies not to India? Prime Minister is like a king. He decides everything in our country. No. Prime Minister is answerable to the country, to the people, and also to the different legislatures like the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And if the Prime Minister is of an alliance, that is coalition government is formed, then he cannot act like a king. Shekhar, Prime Minister, is only the first among equals. He does not have any special powers. This is wrong. Actually, in India, the Prime Minister is supreme. He has special powers. All ministers and PM have similar powers. This is wrong. So the Bobby is saying the correct thing. Why do you think is the advice of Council of Ministers binding on the President? Give your answer is not more than in 100 words. So what do you think is the advice of the Council of Ministers binding on the President? So the advice of Council of Ministers, and these are the ministers which are being chosen, or you can say nominated by the Prime Minister. So they are the minister heading different ministries in different levels. Some are cabinet ministers, some are state minister, like this. So the binding on the President is, the President is the formal head of government in a parliamentary system. Though he is just you can say a garland or a rubber stamp type of president, or but he is supreme and he is head of the government. He is head of the government. He is head of the 3 different wings of defense. Article 74(1) states that there will be Council of Ministers as a head to aid and advise the President. So Council of Ministers, they are being said that these ministers are going to advise the President and inform the President. President will act accordance to what the Council of Ministers advise. उनके परामर्श से काम करते हैं President. After reconsideration, the President will act in accordance with the advice. By 42 and 44th Amendment, it was being said that the President is bound to accept and to go with what the Council of Ministers and Prime Minister has decided, or the Parliament has decided. The parliamentary system of executive vests many power in the legislature for controlling the executive. Why do you think is it so necessary to control the executive? Now, executive, there are 2 types of executive. One is the government type of executive, like the Prime Minister, like the Council of Ministers, etc. And the other is the permanent executive, that is the Indian Administrative Service, like all the officers of central government, like this. So now it is very important that the executive should be controlled. So in a parliamentary system, the Prime Minister is the head of the government along with the President as a nominal head of the government. The executive is actually responsible to the Parliament and hold powers till it enjoys the confidence of the Parliament. This is I am talking about those who comes under the who are elected or who are elected by some PR system, proportional representation system, and these are the people like the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers. It is necessary to ensure the sensitivity towards the public expectation and accountability to the needs and aspiration of the people. It is said that there is too much political interference in the working of administrative machinery. It is suggested that there should be more and more autonomous agencies which do not have to answer to the minister. For example, the ECI, Election Commission of India, the Judiciary of India, these institutions, there are many institutions which are independent. So if they have interference, or if the interference of ministers or the powerful people are allowed, they are not going to work in the justified manner. So do you think this will make administration more people friendly? So this will not make administration more friendly to the people. In a democracy, the elected representative and the ministers are in charge of the government. Therefore, the administrative officer cannot act in violation of the policies adopted by the legislature. So the administrative machinery is supposed to be faithful and efficient in policy formation and implementation. So those who are being elected, they make the policy, and then this policy is executed by the executive. Do you think this will make administration more efficient? Yes. There would be autonomous agency, it will make administration more efficient. Does democracy mean full control of elected representatives over the administration? Yes, the elected representative enjoy the right to make the policies because they are being elected directly by the people. But the administrative officers implement these policies effectively and efficiently. Therefore, the democracy does not refer full control of elected representatives or administration. But I am saying not refers to full control, but somewhat control is required. Write an essay of 200 words on the proposal to have an elected administration instead of an appointed administration. So the question here is that UPSC and the Public Service Commission, all these institutions, they on the basis of the ability and skill and the education, they recruit central government employees or state government employees. So now this is being said that whether these are elected or they are the recruited, there should be a recruitment or there should be an election. So an elected administration in place of an appointed administration would be harmful because an elected administration will have the instability to implement different policies, whereas the appointed administration is selected on the basis of skill, merit to handle welfare policies of the government in an effective manner. They have full knowledge and practical approach of their concerned departments. Therefore, the appointed administration is more efficient and capable to implement and perform the development functions. So, the appointed administration will also be able to perform the function of planning and social welfare. So, if you just elect them, what will they do? They will wait for 5 years and they will do everything to get elected again, and just for 5 years they are there. So they will try to get as much as from their seat. So these all things will come. If they are skillful, they have ability, and if they have come from a proper examination and interview, now they are skillful. These people are going to work for 60-65 years and they can work for whichever government comes. So the recruitment is rather good, appointment is rather good than election. Now we have some extra questions. Mention 2 ceremonial executives. Ceremonial executives are like rubber stamp. On their name everything is done, but they don't have actual powers. Constitutional monarchy, England we have the Queen. Parliamentary Republic, India, we have the President of India. In which country we find semi-presidential executive? In Sri Lanka, France, Russia. Mention the tenure of the President of India. It's 5 years, but he can resign if he likes before completion of this 5-year term. And the second thing is, the President of India can be removed from his office through an action of impeachment, Maha-Abhiyog, if he does not work according to the Constitution. How is the Vice President elected in India? Vice President is also elected by the member of both Houses of Parliament on the basis of PR system, proportional representation system. How can a Vice President be removed? A Vice President may be removed from his office by the resolution in Rajya Sabha and agreed by the Lok Sabha, but no resolution will be moved for this purpose without a notice of 14 days. Write down any 2 powers of Vice President of India. He is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. उपराष्ट्रपति राज्यसभा के सभापति होते हैं. He shall act as an acting president in the event of occurrence of vacancy in the office of president. If the president dies, in case of his removal or resignation before the completion of the term, vice president is going to take place, or he will hold the presidentship until the next president is elected or he is appointed. What do you mean by Council of Ministers, COM. According to the Article 74(1), there will be a Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President of India. Now, the President is going to advise Prime Minister, the leader of ruling party, and the number of members of Council of Ministers shall not exceed by any way 15% of the total members of the Lok Sabha, which was determined by the 91st Amendment Act of 2003. This Council of Ministers, say this is Lok Sabha, and one party gets the majority. Now this party, all the members, they elect their PM, or they choose their PM. Now this PM, from these members only, he finds some of them to be holding the ministry, and these are called the Council of Ministers. What is the tenure of governor? A governor is appointed for 5 years, though he can resign earlier, but the president too, if he likes, he can remove from his office. Means the governor can be removed by the action of president, as well as he can extend his tenure also. But the state legislature cannot remove a governor. Governor is the body which is appointed by the central government through the President of India. What do you mean by executive? कार्यपालिका से आप क्या समझते हैं? Executive is an organ of the government to enforce the will of the legislature. That is, whatever कानून, नियम, law, rules, regulation the legislature is making, executive is to enforce it, to actually execute it, and to maintain law and order in the society, and runs the administration of the country. What is plural executive? Plural executive, in this, the authority to direct is exercised not by single authority, but there are a group of persons, not a single person, but group of persons, and they have co-equal status of authority. For example, Swiss Federal Council. That means the executive have, say, few members, and they have equal authority, equal powers, and the authority is exercised by all these three. Who is the real executive in India? The Council of Ministers, the elected members of the parliament, the majority or the coalition majority. In those people or on those MPs, the Prime Minister elects or chooses or nominates certain members to come under Council of Ministers. So the Council of Ministers, along with the Prime Minister as the head at the central level, and the Chief Minister along with the Council of Ministers at the state level, these are the real executives in India. Mention the classification of civil services. All India services we have, central services and state services. All these come under civil services, that is Nagarik Seva. All India services, it has Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services, Central Services, Indian Foreign Services, Indian Revenue Services, and the state services like the Sales Tax Officer. Mention the qualification of a person to become the President of India. First of all, he should be the citizen of India, should attain at least 35 years of age, should be qualified for the member of Lok Sabha, and should not hold any office of profit under the government of India, and he should not be a member of the parliament or any state legislature. If he is, then he must resign. Mention the classification of the Council of Ministers. So there are three levels actually. The first is Cabinet Minister, then the State Minister, and then we have Deputy Ministers. So Cabinet Ministers are independent heads of their respective department or ministries. State Minister assists these Cabinet Minister, and they are sometimes given independent charge also for some portfolios. And Deputy Minister do not have any independent department. They are assisting either this Cabinet or State Ministers. What are the merits of a good executive? A good executive to maintain law and order in the country and not to let fulfill the evil intentions of anybody, to protect and preserve the national boundaries, to protect the country from external aggression if any, and to avoid financial fluctuations in the country to maintain stability in the economy. What is the relation between the Council of Ministers and Legislative Assembly? So the Chief Minister along with his Council of Ministers is the leader of majority party in the Legislative Assembly. Say we have a state, this is the Legislative Assembly. The MLAs here, there will be MLAs being elected and the majority party, those MLAs, from these MLAs, the Council of Ministers is being formed because they choose a CM and now CM will take few of them in the Council of Ministers. All these ministers, they participate in the meetings of the legislature, they discuss different topics and express their opinion on it. The sessions of legislature, these are called after the will of the Council of Ministers. What is the relationship between the governor and the Legislative Assembly? So every state has a governor. Now this governor is appointed by the central government and through President of India. That is heading the state like President is heading the country. So the governor calls the session of Legislative Assembly as well as he only may suspend it or end the session. The governor can send messages to the Legislative Assembly. He signs on the bill passed by the Legislative Assembly. No bill becomes law till he does not sanction it. The governor can dissolve the Legislative Assembly if any political drama is there and calls for the fresh elections. How is the governor of a state appointed? The governor of a state is appointed by the President of India on the basis of the qualification mentioned in our constitution. But governor is actually a nominee, is a representative of the central cabinet because the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, member of his cabinet, like to have a man of confidence on this post. So they recommend their name and President of India nominates him, appoints him. Mention the qualification for a governor of a state. Same here, that is citizen of India above 35 years of age. He should not be or she should not be the member of parliament or any state legislature. If he or she is, he must resign. He must not be holding any office of profit at any level of government. And he must not be lunatic or insolvent, means pagal or diwaliya. How can the President of India be removed? That's a long process. It's called impeachment. So the President of India is elected for a tenure of 5 years. He can be removed from his office by an impeachment, Mahabhiyog, only for violation of the constitution. And this may be initiated by either house of the parliament, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. And if it is passed by 2/3 majority of the total membership of the house, then it is sent to the other house. And if the other house, that is both the houses, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, if the other houses also pass it with the majority 2/3, only then the president can be removed. What are the executive powers of the governor? The governor is the head of a state. All the laws are executed in the name of the governor and he maintains law and order in the state. He is responsible for it. All the important officers of the state are appointed by governor. He appoints chief minister and other minister, also on the advice of the chief minister, and he also has the power to dismiss the council of ministers. In the absence of no single party majority, how is the chief minister appointed? In case where there is no clear-cut majority, that is the hung parliament or hung assembly, the chief minister is appointed by the governor. If no single party commands majority, if majority is not seen in the legislative assembly, the governor can use his discretionary power in appointing the chief minister to the person whom he thinks fit to get the support of the majority of legislative assembly. For example, appointment of Bhajan Lal, Congress leader, by Governor G.D. Tagore in 1982 in Haryana. By the dominance of executive leadership. Sansadiya Vyavastha, in the parliamentary system, the legislature is formed mainly by the elected representatives, because the political party who gets most of the votes, who gets the majority, the leader of that party is called upon by the president to form the government, and he is the prime minister. Now, the parliament enjoys many powers, even to pass no confidence motion against the prime minister and his council of ministers, as well as to remove them from their office. But in fact, the prime minister leads the parliament whenever he wants. He can dissolve the Lok Sabha. Therefore, it is considered as a dominance of executive leadership. Those who are elected and those who are in majority, they enjoy this dominance. Write a short note on the relationship between the president and the prime minister. So, according to the constitution, the appointment of the prime minister is made by the president of India, who calls upon the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha to form the government. The president is the constitutional head, while the prime minister is the real head. He is formal head, he is a real head of the state. The prime minister serves as a link between president and the council of ministers. And this is also the duty of the prime minister to inform and let president know what is going on, important, especially on the important matters. How is the president of India elected? So the president of India is elected by electoral college, and that consists of elected member of both the houses of parliament, that is the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha, elected member of the legislative assemblies of the states, all the states, the MLAs, all the MLAs, and the elected member of the legislative assembly of the union territories. They have been authorized to take part in the electoral college by 70th amendment of 1992. So there are other union territories also. So Delhi and Pondicherry, they are allowed. The president should fulfill the qualifications also as assigned by the Constitution of India. And most of these qualifications are the qualification of becoming a member of parliament. Distinguish between the political executive and the permanent executive. So executive has two parts or two divisions, you can say. One is political executive, one is permanent executive. So the political executives, these are elected by the people. People vote and they elect them through the process of election. Whereas the permanent executives, these are recruited, these are appointed by the government of India on the basis of merits with proper examination and proper interview, on the basis of their skills, knowledge and their education. The tenure of political executives, it depends on the popular election in order to formulate policy and give direction to administration, as long as they command the support of the electorates. Whereas these civil servants, that is the permanent executive members, they continue in service till they reach the age of superannuation or retirement. Political executives keep on changing after some duration. For example, in 5 years, one government has come, other time some other government may come. But the permanent executives, they are central government employees. They are there to cooperate with whichever leader comes, whichever government comes in power, by maintaining the political neutrality in the discharge of their official duties. Mention the situations to when a governor can use his discretionary powers. So if any party does not get the absolute majority, that is a hung parliament or hung assembly is there, governor deals with the state. So when we don't get any absolute majority, or the winning is unable to choose its leader, the governor can appoint chief minister of his own choice. If constitutional machinery fails in the state, the governor immediately sends the report to the president, and he is not bound to consult with the council of ministers under such circumstances, because the ministers are responsible for the failure of this constitutional machinery. So he can work independently. If the president declare emergency in the state, now the governor of the state acts as the agent to the president or representative to the president in place to act in accordance with the advice of the Council of Ministers. If the governor feels that some bills, some law is contradictory to the central government, he can reserve this bill for the approval of the president. In what circumstances the president rule is imposed in a state? What role does the governor play during this? So under these, there are certain circumstances where the president's rule can be imposed in a state. If no political party gets the majority and formation of government in the state becomes quite impossible, then on the advice of the governor, the president rule can be imposed. It's for 6 months. It can be extended, but it is for 6 months. If the president gets information of failing of constitutional machinery in the state, if the state government is not able to control the things and the constitutional things are being challenged, so role of governor, when a president rule is imposed, the legislative assembly is dissolved. And now all the powers of the government come into the hand of the governor, who actually is the representative of the President of India, and the legislative powers of the state go into the hands of the parliament now. What are the emergency powers of the President of India? So there are certain emergency powers, apatkalin adhikar. If the President feels the internal disturbances in the country or some attack or external aggression due to the war, an emergency can be proclaimed by the President when the Parliament has the authority to form the laws and the fundamental rights of the citizens are also suspended at that time. If the constitutional machinery fails in any state and the state legislative assembly is dissolved, and all the legislative powers of the state now go in the hand of the Parliament, which is actually, Parliament acts through the President of India only. The President can declare final emergency, that is apatkal. Also may decrease the pay and allowances of the government employees if there is some financial emergency, that is vittiya avyavastha, vittiya apatkal. Write a short note on single and plural executive. So single and plural, single means refers to a person who do not share or who does not share powers with others, as in USA, United States of America. In the UK and other parliamentary form of government, the executive authority is vested in the cabinet and a plural body, but in fact the constituting, it's a singular executive. The British cabinet acts as a unit and goes out of the office together. It functions under the leadership of Prime Minister now. Plural means it refers to directing authority by one single individual for a term, but group of persons have a co-equal authority. So there are group of people who have co-equal authority. All of them, they have equal authority and they are more than one. As the Swiss Federal Council consisting of 7 councillors, and the chairman of the council is selected only for a term of 1 year and is merely the first among equals. Do you think that the presidential form of government is the most suitable for India? Justify. As we talked about United States of America, we have presidential form. Sometimes it is presumed to have a presidential form of government because in our country, the president is merely a rubber stamp. He is the head of the state, but he has not enough power. All the power is with the parliament, with the prime minister and with the council of ministers. So it is presumed to have a presidential form of government to be the most suitable for India, for it is considered to be strong and stable to meet emergencies effectively. So you can say, in my opinion, parliamentary form of government is the most suitable for India because the government is responsible to the legislator and the people. And the relationship between the legislature and the executive makes passing of good laws possible. And moreover, we have parliamentary form of government that has been working in India for past long years and it is the most suitable for India. So you can give both the answers. You can give in Paksh and Vipaksh like this. Now we have certain passage-based questions. The Indian bureaucracy today is an enormously complex system. It consists of all India services, state services, employees of the local governments, and the technical and managerial staff running public sector undertakings. Makers of our constitution were aware of the importance of non-partisan and professional bureaucracy. They also wanted the members of the civil services or bureaucracy to be impartially selected on the basis of merit. So the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, has been entrusted with the task of conducting the process of recruitment of the civil servants for the Government of India. Similar public service commissions are provided for the states also. Members of the public service commissions, they are appointed for a fixed term. Their removal or suspension is subject to a thorough inquiry made by the judge of the Supreme Court. What do you mean by bureaucracy? नौकरशाही से आप क्या समझते हैं? Bureaucracy stands for the government officers and also includes the government servants who hold office on permanent basis till they retire at a fixed age. And they are for government, they work for government, and they help the government. What does the Indian bureaucracy consist of? The Indian bureaucracy consists of all India services, state services, employees of the local government, and the technical and managerial staff running public sector undertakings. How are the public servants appointed? So there is a proper examination and then interview. So the public servants are appointed by the process conducted by UPSC for their recruitment, as well as there are similar public commissions who have been appointed at a state level. How can the public servants be removed? Now the public servants are appointed, they are recruited for a fixed term. Normally 60 year of age is the retirement age normally. So their removal or suspension is subjected to a thorough inquiry made by the judge of the Supreme Courts. The President also has veto power, by which he can withhold or refuse to give assent, acceptance to bills other than money bill passed by the Parliament. Every bill passed by the Parliament goes to the President for his assent before it becomes a law. The President can send the bill back to the Parliament asking it to reconsider the bill, Punarvichar. This veto power is limited because if the Parliament passes the same bill again and sends it back to the President, then the President has to give assent to the bill, means he is bound to give the assent to the bill. However, there is no mention in the Constitution about the time limit within which the President must send the bill back for the reconsideration. This means that the President can just keep the bill pending with him without any time limit. This gives the President an informal power to use the veto in very effective manner. And this is also called as the pocket veto, जेब में रखना. What is the veto power of the President? So the veto power, normally called as a pocket veto, is a power to withhold or refuse to give his assent or acceptance to the bill other than the money bill passed by the government. How a bill can be passed in a Parliament and become a law? Every bill passed by the Parliament goes to the President for his assent before it becomes a law. And though the President can send the bill back again to the Parliament, asking it to reconsider the bill. What do you mean by a pocket veto? So after reconsideration, if the Parliament passes bill again and send it again to the President, then the President has to give assent on the bill. But in Constitution, there is no mention on the time limit within which the President must send the bill back to the reconsideration. Means the President just can keep it bill pending for whatever time he wants without any time limit. This gives the President an informal power to use the veto in very effective manner. And this is sometimes also called as a pocket veto. There are certain long type questions also. Describe the power and functions of the President of India. So the President of India, there are executive powers. The President appoints the Prime Minister of India, who is the leader of the majority party, and the other members also, Council of Ministers, on the advice of Prime Minister. The President also appoints high officials in India, high ranked officials in India, like the governors of the state, lieutenant governors of the union territories, attorney generals, CAG, controller and auditor general, the chairman and the member of the UPSC, the ambassadors, Rajdut or high commissioners in other countries, And the President of India is the supreme commander of the defense forces. The President can declare war and also can make peace. There are legislative powers also. The President can nominate 12 members in Rajya Sabha who are distinguished in the field of art, literature, science, social services. And he can also nominate 2 Anglo-Indian. Anglo-Indian means the mother or father, one is from Britain or English, other one is from India. 2 Anglo-Indian members to the Lok Sabha also. The President can summon both the houses. If there are some disciplinary differences or any bill is issued by the Parliament, the joint session might be summoned, or he may call the joint session. The President has the power to dissolve Lok Sabha before completion of its 5-year term and can order for a fresh elections, but on the recommendation of the Prime Minister. The President has the power to give his assent to the bill because no bill can be passed by the Parliament. It cannot become an act without the signature or assent of the President. He has no power to reject the money bill passed by the government. Money bill, he has to agree. The President has the power to issue the ordinances during the intervals of the sessions of Parliament which have the force of law, because sometimes the Parliament is not running, so the ordinances can be issued by the President. Financial powers. The President has the duty to place the budget before the beginning of the financial year by or through the Finance Minister on behalf of the President. Money bills can be introduced only in the Parliament on the recommendation of the President, and the President has full control over the contingency fund to spend it according to his will even prior to the consent of the Parliament. The President has the power to distribute the share of income tax among the states. Judicial powers. The President has the power to appoint the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts. The President of India has the power to pardon, reprieve or commute the punishment of any criminal for whom he thinks he or she deserves pardon. That is Mrityu Dand. He can pardon. Describe the powers and function of Prime Minister of India. The Prime Minister forms the Council of Ministers. He is actually the leader of the majority party or coalition in the Lok Sabha. So he forms the Council of Ministers according to the capabilities of the minister. He assigned duty to them. Different ministries he assigned. The Prime Minister allocates the departments to the ministers, and if he does not find the minister is working fine, he can change the department of the minister. The Prime Minister presides over the meetings of the cabinet. That is there are 2 things, Mantri Parishad and Mantri Mandal. So Mantri Parishad, that is the cabinet. He prepares an agenda for meetings and controls it. The Prime Minister makes the appointment of the state governors, ambassadors, members of UPSC by giving the advice to the President to appoint these people. The Prime Minister works as a link between the President and the Council of Ministers. No minister can discuss the issues directly with the President without the permission of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister leads the Cabinet in the Parliament as he explains the policy and decision of the Cabinet to Parliament, and if the President requires any information regarding the functioning of the Parliament, he would demand such information from they would demand from the Prime Minister only. There are certain picture-based questions. So here is a cartoon. There is no Council of Ministers without the Prime Minister. This cartoon shows how literally the Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers. So what does this cartoon represent? So this cartoon represents the Council of Ministers led by the Prime Minister. What message does the cartoon convey? The cartoon conveys the message that the Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers, which is sometimes bound by the words of the Prime Minister. Is that all that matters? The portfolio, the house, the car, the servants, travel, the foreign trips, the security, the secretaries, don't they mean anything to you? Why do people want to be ministers? The people want to be ministers for gaining the advantage of perks and status. They enjoy power, they get good money, they get izzat and also paisa. This cartoon seems to suggest that it is only for perks and status. Then why is there competition for some portfolios? There is a competition for some portfolios like the Finance Ministry, Like some ministries which are, they are digging the gold, they are producing a lot of money. So there is competition for some portfolios for better status, more power and more extra earning and more importance among people and the leaders. If you are a finance minister or if you are a defense minister, then you are considered more powerful. Or if you are an agriculture minister or a Kapla minister, you might not be. What does the cartoon represent? My troubles are not over. I won the confidence vote. What does the cartoon represent? This cartoon is representing the no confidence motion, that is need of a confidence vote by the members of Legislative Assembly for the Chief Minister at the state level. CM seek trust vote, because if he doesn't, then he has to lose the government. The Chief Minister is not happy after winning the confidence motion. Can you imagine why this is so? Because after the Chief Minister gets the confidence vote of the members, he is bound by the limitations set by the members in place of independent decision taken by himself, or he has to make some compromises also to compensate the confidence vote of members. There are people who might have given some assurances that you vote for me, I'll do this and that. That is why the things happen.